All right, so my name is Frances Zygmunt, and this is my article. It is a discussion of why breastfeeding among adolescent mothers is perceived as deviant behavior. So that's the question they answer. And there it is, the picture, and that's the title. I just don't think it's not natural. Adolescent mothers' constructions of breastfeeding as deviant. The methods include focus groups. There were 2 groups, 27 participants from Northeast England, all aged 16 to 24. However, they had all had a baby before the age of 21. And then they used photo elicitation. So they had the participants take photos for a week of their life, and those were the basis of the discussion. Following this focus groups, they found breastfeeding as deviant was a common theme, and that's what they followed up with 3 of the mothers about, and that was the subject of their research. They also interviewed a couple of early years professionals in the area. Their findings were that breastfeeding was deviant among adolescent mothers for 3 primary reasons. The first being societal norms, which basically means that the function of breasts was viewed as a sexual function rather than a feeding function, and the women did not want to break that norm, and it was viewed as immodest to breastfeed. Local behavioral norms also showed breastfeeding as very uncommon, and because it was invisible, it was viewed as more taboo, and they just thought it wasn't done so much. The early years professionals spoke on that, saying it was likely more due to marginalization than the fact that it had fallen out of fashion. And lastly, interpersonal interaction expectations would mean, family and friends finding it uncomfortable. And if you don't have that support from your close social circles, you just wouldn't establish breastfeeding in your life. And once you stop, you stop. So looking into why this is important, feeding practices of young mothers is important to look into because you can't support them if you don't know why they're doing what they're doing. So creating better support systems and better education into what options they have is really important. And it's also really important to understand how, as a society, we can change, because the public, especially medical professionals, really play a big role in what women think about their own bodies, and it's important that we give them the most freedom and option as we can. And without better research and better understanding, we can't do that. Lastly, further research and critiques. So my critiques are their choice of location being quite it was not a very broad amount of places. It was very narrow. It was a very specific age group, and the races and class were very similar among all participants. So to expand on that would be to understand kind of more locations and how location might play a role in different countries, as well as different ages, because these were young mothers, but obviously there are older mothers, and it would be important to look into that as well. And then lastly would be race and class and culture. You need to know how that would intersect with all the other different factors and how it might change the way breastfeeding is perceived. Thank you very much.